All right, the other big story today, well, Britain's top court is looking into Prime Minister Boris Johnson's decision to suspend Parliament. Well, the court has begun hearing two appeals to decide if Johnson's move was unlawful. The verdict could be expected soon. Suspension campaigner Gina Miller and the former Prime Minister John Major have been arguing against Boris Johnson. Now, addressing the court, Lord Panic, the attorney representing Gina Miller, said the court had a common law duty to intervene if the Prime Minister has used his power improperly.
No Prime Minister has abused his powers in the manner which we allege in at least the last 50 years. That is back to the development of modern principles of judicial review.
The anti-Brexit protests were also witnessed outside the UK Supreme Court. Protesters outside the court said they found Johnson's decision undemocratic and were hopeful of a ruling in line with the Scottish court. Last week, Scotland's High Court ruled against Johnson's decision. The High Court of England and Wales rejected a similar case, saying that it was a political issue. 11 judges will hear both the cases and decide the fate of the UK Parliament. Johnson has suspended Parliament for 5 weeks until shortly before the October 31st Brexit deadline. The MPs will be returning to the Parliament on the 14th of October. Opposition parties have been demanding that the Parliament be recalled. They say that Johnson suspended the Parliament because he lost support for his Brexit plan. Remember, the UK Prime Minister is adamant that he wants Britain to leave the European Union in October with or without a deal. Some say that if the court rules that the Prime Minister misled the Queen, he must resign. Meanwhile, the Conservative government has said that anti-Brexit campaigners are using the courts to frustrate Britain's departure from the EU. And WION's London Bureau Chief Mandy Clark is live with us now for the very latest on this. And Mandy, what can we expect from the UK's top court, even as we've seen a divided lower judiciary on the matter?
Yeah, so normally when it comes to Supreme Court decisions, we have the 9 judges on the bench, but when it's very serious cases, we see those 11 judges. So clearly this is a national a case. It has happened very rapidly because of the need, if they decide to go with the Scottish ruling, to get Parliament back into place. Of course, there was equally another court case in England and Wales, and they had decided that he hadn't been unlawful. So it will be interesting in which way the judges decide. Now, there's going to be there's been series of evidence that's been put forth in front of the judges, and that is still ongoing. It's unclear if there is going to be a decision today or tomorrow, or it could even extend one more day, but we do know it will happen this week. It will be pretty rapid because of the urgency of this matter. But there is all to play for. And at one point, there was a Conservative MP that was kind of suggesting that the judiciary is biased. The Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, has come out and he says he has complete faith in the judiciary system and he will abide by what their ruling is. It's unlikely he'll take it to the European Courts of Justice, which would be the way he would appeal. But in this matter, in all likelihood, he'll accept whatever ruling they have. There is another concern that the Remainers, the people who want to stay in Britain, have, is his MPs in his cabinet have been suggesting that they've been looking ways to legally get around that no-deal legislation that became law. They suggest there might be a way around it so that he can still force Britain out of the EU by October 31st and not break the law. So there's another reason why MPs want to come back to Parliament, so they can make sure that the legislation is watertight and there's no loopholes. So if he can't get a deal in time, that they do get that extension on Brexit.
Right. And what would, Mandy, an adverse ruling by the Supreme Court on this matter mean for Boris Johnson personally? You know, there are people, of course, who are hankering for his resignation already, saying that if the court is to decide otherwise, he should go.
There is no, it will be uncharted legal waters. Certainly at any other time, you would expect the Prime Minister to step down after being accused of unlawfully proroguing Parliament and essentially lying to the Queen. You would normally get the Prime Minister handing the resignation, but this is certainly unusual times. So it's, there would certainly be the demand, definitely from opposition MPs, that he step down, but does he have a legal need to step down? That's not clear. Of course, there could be a vote of confidence, but that's another parliamentary movement. I think what the opposition MPs will really want to do is make sure that it's all buttoned up and that their legislation that has become law, that no deal clause, that stays watertight, because if Boris Johnson can maneuver around that, then everything they've worked for, working through the night to get that legislation passed, has ultimately failed. So that will be their primary focus. But certainly you're going to hear those arguments that if they decide that he was acting unlawful, he should step down. Whether he will step down, well, that remains to be seen.
All right, Mandy, thanks very much indeed for joining us with the very latest there from the UK. And, of course, the Supreme Court there deciding either today, tomorrow or even later whether that suspension will be revoked.